I see there's a lot of people in the chat already. Thank you all for being here for me when I'm sick in the hospital. I got beat up at the Aji Fry Fish Restaurant of Jiro's in Matsura, Japan, at the annual Matsura Matsuri Fish Fry Aji Fry Kingdom of Paradise Heaven Holy Land Good Festival. And the waitress basically entrapped me into slapping her. That was really anybody would have done it. And I barely even slapped her a few times, and the chefs completely. I think they were just waiting for an opportunity to beat me up, just because I'm a foreigner. I didn't see them beat up anybody else in there, but I've got a lot of pretty bad injuries to my ribs, teeth, and pee holes. So they say I may be here for several months recovering in the hospital bed where I'm laying down on my back right now. I'm very sleepy because the waitresses have to, the hospital waitresses, they call themselves nurses, but let's be honest. Uh, if they bring me eggs, they're going to get the same thing as the other waitresses get, if you know what I'm saying. Well, anyway, they've been giving me a lot of drug medicines, such as some pretty hard stuff, Tylenols, Kaopectate, Pepto-Bismol, diarrhea crema. I'm the drug pharmacist expert, but I'm just know that all this stuff going around in my system has just got me pretty out of it. So, basically, I've been feeling a little bit down. I was just in the middle of recording a new song that I had high hopes for, and it was called Pon Pon Japanese Eggs Pee Pee Poo Poo. But now, sometimes I just don't even know if it's worth it anymore. People tell me, Salvador, please, your songs change the world so much and they help so many people. But sometimes there's a little voice in the back of my head saying, "Hey, I'm a little voice in the back of your head. Listen to me. Because I'm in your head and I'm louder than other voices that are outside your head. Oh! Meow! Oh, like that. So, and I'll be like, what do you want? And they'd be like, your songs don't help anybody around the world. Nobody cares about your new song, Pon Pon Japanese Eggs Pee Pee Poo Poo. Don't make it. And then I'm like, why would I listening to voices like that? It leaves people into trouble. It leaves people to commit crimes and sprees, but people are now telling me that I'm a criminal. And Sora, I was like, Sora, are you going to play my new song, Pom Pom Japanese Eggs Pee Pee Poo Poo, on your channel? And he said no. His agent contacted me. He says, Sora does not wish to have any further ties with your channel because of your criminal record in Japan. I said, is this about the eggs? But they wouldn't even say. They say, you know what you've done. So after I get out of the hospital, I have a court date. And although I wouldn't call it a date because they're not even going to go out to dinner with me or anything. But I may get screwed at the end of the night because the judge there in Japan that they've assigned me, apparently he's been a judge for over 20 years and he's never found anyone not guilty. But I'm pretty confident that once he hears the facts, then he'll say, well, this has all been a big misunderstanding. And so you may go free. And also we will reimburse you for your legal fees and your time and emotional damages and loss of potential wages. And that'll be good. And it'll really make me feel validated that the whole time that I was in the right, So I've been spending a lot of time thinking about what I'll say to the press after I'm acquitted of all charges, and that keeps me going for a little while. But like I said, I'm still a little bit down about the songs and everything because sometimes at night when I'm lying here in my hospital bed alone, people I hear them outside of my window, thousands of people, and they're like, Salvador, 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 please sing to us. I'm like, I'm in the hospital, go away. I'm here in Japan and I got my pee holes bruised up and my ribs broke. And then, you know, you guys want me to get up and sing and stuff like that? What are you, cray cray? That's what I'm saying. There's this guy, Fluffy Tutorial TV, and he's like, oh, I am typing. But then I go here to type, and it's like, nothing. I'm only can talk. I'm not allowed to type in the chat or something. What kind of stuff is this? I can't interact with my fans. They traveled a long way to be here. And then, oh, the hospital is having an alert. Apparently I'm in the criminal wing of the hospital where they keep the people who get in fights about the Japanese eggs at the restaurants. And this is not some kind of a filter called Dance Party. Anyway, look. Okay, this message in the chat. Thank you for the super chat, Fluffy Tutorial TV, $100. It says, sup, Salvador. Hey, what's up, man? How you been? We were just discussing before you got here, and the chat's a little laggy because of all the messages going by, but I'll try to read all the super chat stuff, at least $100 or more. Look, man, have I reported the chefs? It was all caught on live camera of them, and as far as a refund, they should be paying me extra for what they put me through, but it's like sometimes it feels like there's no justice in this world when you're a foreigner. You go in there, and they were playing this song that said, when you're eating Japanese eggs, the most important thing is to separate the whites and beat the whites. And sometimes I started to feel like maybe they weren't just talking about egg whites. They were talking about the white people who have come to Japan in honor and respect, because to share our spirit of Bushido and for people to say, oh, you're like a cool samurai dude like us, But, and frankly, chef, what is an egg chef anyway? All I do is boil the eggs and then send them out to the tables. So how are you a chef? It's not even a cook. I mean, a child could do that, But, child can do a lot of things in Japan that they're not allowed to do in other countries. So, and not just elf queens that are really 1,000 years old and look like a child, but also the actual children. So what's going on with these tutorials, man? Are you getting any fluffy stuff going on? Because I was thinking about doing English tutorials. There's this guy, Mitchie. He's really popular right now, and his channel is all about speaking English. And I'm like, I could speak English. Maybe I should do my channel about enrolling in the University of Tokyo and my journey to read things in English, and to get rid of my accent. People say because of my strong South American accent, because of my many years that I've been the #1 reggaeton artist of Latin America, and so a little bit of that accent has got into me, and I'm a little bit embarrassed about it sometimes. And people will say, "Well, where are you from? You're a foreigner, aren't you? You're not from around these parts with that accent. You sound like one of those Latin American reggaeton artists, I say, I'm one of those Latin American reggaeton artists. And they say, that's the same kind of accent talk I'm talking to. Gaming tutorials is the fluff, dog. That's what we call it when something is cool. Now, ever since Fluffy TV is blown up on YouTube, we'll say, man, have you played this new game? It's fluffy. It's the fluff, dog. It's fluff on God. That's what they say. People that listen to mumble rap, they be like, "She, you know what I'm saying? No goddamn got millions like minions, you know what I'm saying? Goddamn some of that lean Give me some of them cough syrup and I'm going. Oh, man, them fluff, man. This some fluff weed right here, man. This stuff, no fluffy, man. They can get all that. Man, when you get what's about to do, man, you be out there for them days, man. You won't even know what it's been talking about, oh God. So whenever you do gaming tutorials, I think you should charge people a live service fee because they'll be like, instead of trying to Google something and be like, oh, how can I get out of this dungeon? You just stay on the phone with them for an hour, at a rate of $2.99 a minute and be like, okay, now turn left, like that. And that's a real tutorial, right? Because when people think of a gaming tutorial, before Fluffy came out, a tutorial, they think of some kind of a very simple level that you play at the first of the game that teaches you to do controls. That ain't fluff. What's the opposite of fluffy? That's lumps. Lumpy. Need to be fluffed up. The nurses are paging me, but I don't have to answer their calls while I'm laying here in the bed dying. It's probably just another robot call. Want to know if I have Medicare Part A and B. I don't. And I don't want it either. But sometimes here lately, I get so many computer calls that I will say, yes, please connect me to a person in India computer. And then when the person in India gets on the line, then I'll be like, ah! And I'll yell real loud in their ear and hopefully to cause them some pain, since they haven't invented a way yet for me to reach through the phone line and do them like an egg waitress. But, so I have to settle for just trying to hurt their ears. So, yeah, man, you should make Japanese characters. Look, there's no way I can copy and paste that into a translator, Does it have something to do with American eggs? Well, I recognize this first squiggle. It's like a, So that's pretty cool. Exactly like that. Make a left turn and then they got to pay you for another minute unless they learn how to talk Japanese. And if they want to get out of that dungeon, then they've learned Japanese. And then they find out that the whole time that their mom had paid you to teach them Japanese without them even knowing. You tricked them into learning it. Mom, I got out of the dungeon, but first I had to learn all the words of Japan. And then the tutorial man told me how to beat the level. And then I can talk in Japanese. American tasting Japanese eggs. Listen, man. I made over 61 live videos this year of eating Japanese eggs. And 61 out of 61 ended in disaster for me personally. First, there was juggling eggs. I filled my backyard swimming pool with 100,000 eggs, That video, not only did it not, achieve the success and the commercial acclaim that I thought it would be, but I was picketed by the National Egg Waste Association, and then the city said that all the eggs clogged because when they got underneath the earth and the velocity of the pipes going to the sewer, the eggs coming through, the friction heated them up until the eggs cooked in there. And then you had a bunch of cooked eggs clogging the pipes. So I had to train 13 naked mole rats to swim down to the pipes and eat the eggs. But with that much Japanese egg protein, the mole rats were able to mutate and evolve. And they held the pipes for ransom to the city, and they blame me for that too. How is that my fault? Am I to be blamed for every naked mole rat that evolves in this fair city? What kind of Japanese games do you think that they want to play? I've never heard of any video games from Japan. I just know American ones like Super Mario, Galactical, Pac-Man. These games are all in English as far as I know. So, speaking of which, I just got a sweet new cartridge for the Nintendo Entertainment System, and it's called Pac-Man Championship Edition for the NES. Now, it's not an official cartridge, but It is an official Namco game because they put it out on one of their new Namco Museum collections. Although they did base the code on a fan hack that he had made, but it is a real game that plays on a Nintendo Entertainment System, Pac-Man Championship Edition. But here's what you didn't know. Because it uses the Namco expansion sound chip, that only works on a Japanese Famicom model. Because the American Nintendo is a little bit different in the pin connectors. You either got to go in the Nintendo and solder a couple of wires, or you can get a plug-in, which I did. The NES actually has an expansion port on the bottom. I went on Etsy. It was about $35. You plug it into the bottom port of the Nintendo, which has never been used since it came out over 30 years ago. And now it does have a use for it, and it allows you to play the expansion audio ports from the Japanese titles. If you never heard the original Japanese audio from Castlevania 3, whoo! Long time before they were messing us up with these eggs, they were messing us up by giving us inferior audio on our NES games. You got to get you a bass boost on your subwoofer for your soundbar for your TV, and when you play that Castlevania, it's gonna get you pumped to kill extra vampires. Whip, 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 ha-ha-kai! Ha-kai! But the point is, when you play Pac-Man Championship Edition on the NES with your sound chip, it is like bing bang. It is like Japanese egg, pom pom pom, pee pee poo poo. That's how good it is, and that's good. Well, anyway, the nurses are coming in to euthanize me in a little bit. You know, it doesn't seem fair because the Canadian government contacted me and they were offering me, they're like, you know, that we have a euthanization program now. Instead of paying your medical bills, we can just offer to end your life medically, you know? And I'm like, I'm not even a Canadian citizen. And they're like, we know, but it's worth it to us for you to no longer be sharing the earth with the rest of us. And they said it would benefit not only the Canadian economy, but also the economies of other countries and generally just benefit humanity. And I said, well, let me give you a little secret here, buddy, that you may not have known about, is that I got 11 pee holes. And that means that I can make 11 babies at one time. So lock up all the Canadian women if you think I'm that bad. Because as soon as I get out of Japanese prison, it's going to be a whole lot of Canadian bacon making, if you know what I'm saying. And I think you do, even though you only talk French because you're Canadian. Go back to Canada, France, if you don't like it. Because I'm not going to euthanize myself or neither nobody else. And peace be upon you, infidels. That's how I tell them off. And then they know I mean business. Because Justin Trudeau is the son of Fidel Castro, and we all know it. Hey, man, the Canadians, they may think they're taking over, but once they get a taste of those Japanese eggs, they're going to run back to the safety of the Great White North and hide in their little snow huts that they live in. Because they can't handle, if a Canadian ate the Japanese eggs that I've eaten, he'd be dead. And not from being euthanized either, from the eggs. The amount of protein in one Japanese egg, not even an average bodybuilder could absorb that much protein without exploding. Exploding! Well, Fluffy, I hate to cut you off in the middle of your story. I'm about to let you go now because the nurses are coming in for my sponge bath, and there's like extra nurses every time they come in. First, it was just 3. Now they're up to like 8 or 9 nurses, just giggling, looking at the pee holes, trying to put their fingers in it, play it like a flute. And frankly, I'm not an object, for your enjoyment and pleasure. I'm a human being with feelings. My eyes are up here. And they're like, those are only 2 eye holes. I see 11 holes down here. And then they have a contest to, I don't want to, gross you out, but they'll see who can put their finger in one pee hole and see how many holes they can bypass before their finger comes back out. That's wrong. It's not funny. Okay? And it's sad. And don't tell anybody I said that either, because it's embarrassing too. So I gotta go. How long have I been live streaming? Chat says 3 hours and 41 minutes. All right. Oh man, the good-looking nurses. Well, I'm not gonna lie. We'll see though. Hopefully, there's none of them are Canadian, because the Canadian eggs is almost as bad as their Canadian bacon. Anyway, peace out. See you guys later. I'm gonna read the chat for 3 minutes. All right, it's been 3 minutes, and now I just gotta figure out. I don't think it's gonna let me stop live streaming. There's no button to stop, so it's just gonna be like, no, you started live streaming. That's it. You gotta go. 20 hours minimum. That's right. All right, the winner of today's chat is Fluffy Tutorial TV with the last comment. Sorry, everybody else, you lost. Haha.